Hello, everybody. Welcome to Journal of Journeys. We got a new episode here with some business owners in Sacramento, Elk Grove, in the California area that we were very interested in talking to. And here we have,
Diazong.
And I'm Her Lao.
and of course, my co host.
Youa.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming to our podcast. I mean,
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And of course, it's in the name of what we are interested in is knowing your journeys and the individuals and just kind of hearing where you guys are now comparing to say, years ago before you started your business or what you did before. But Yo,
Yeah,
would you
I
like to
can
start
start.
it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, first we're going to start with this. We were having this conversation. Can you guys finally clarify how do you pronounce the word charcuterie?
Charcuterie.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
right. That's yeah.
Because
Charcuterie?
I know.
Charcuterie.
I
Yeah.
used to call it charcutier.
Yeah, it's charcuterie. But a lot of people, and one thing that, apart from not knowing how to pronounce the name, did you know that charcuterie does not mean cheese?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Charcuterie means meat. You're talking about the
Oh.
meat on the cheese board.
Wow.
You're not talking
It's
about
not
the cheese. Yeah.
See, that I was focused on the cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
I would-
cheese and charcuterie.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
see, we learned something new.
Well, yeah. That's why it's great to have
We
you
were
guys
like, when
here.
they come, we need to set the record straight. Like, how do you pronounce it? Because when it was introduced, like, what, 2-3 years ago?
Oh, yeah.
Everybody had their
Yeah,
own
everybody
ways
butchered
of,
it.
yeah, everybody was, I've heard very weird pronunciations of
Yeah,
it.
I've heard them on Instagram.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you for setting
Oh,
the
yeah,
record straight.
definitely.
But yeah, I do want to start off with, can you guys walk us through how both of you guys decided to transition into this business? Like, what triggered it?
Well, for me, I don't know if you guys know, and I've probably said it a dozen times, and it's probably on my, it is actually on my website under our story. But I had a couple of strokes a little while ago, and maybe you guys didn't know,
didn't
but
know that.
I actually had a stroke in August of August of 2019.
Oh my
Yeah, I
goodness.
had my first stroke, and then I was just sleeping. We were just sleeping, and I had the stroke, and I was working at a medical center at the time, and I've seen patients with strokes, and I've learned about strokes, and I knew I was having a stroke while I was going, and I had to wait for it to be over before I woke my husband up, and I said, "Oh, I had a stroke. We have to go to the hospital." So then he was like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm sure." So we end up going to the hospital. They don't find the stroke because I know that they say if you've had a stroke, go immediately to the hospital. But sometimes it doesn't show up for 48 hours, which is
Wow.
kind of stupid. I don't get it. I don't know enough to like elaborate on the situation, but they say go straight to the hospital. But when we went there and we did the CT, nothing came up. So then we went back home and they said that I would have to see a neurologist. So then I had 12 mini strokes in between that.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness.
Yeah, and so and it was kind of crazy. They would just come on, and then I'd be standing, and it would just happen, and I couldn't stand anymore, and I'd just fall. And so then I was like, you know what? We'll just go and pay for a neurologist because it took way too long. I had to wait another month. I would have been dead before I could see a neurologist. So then we just paid to go get evaluated, for me to get evaluated at a neurologist. And she was like, oh man, you need like a dozen tests in order to confirm anything. And you might not be well by the time you actually get into these appointments. And then I was like, okay, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. But we get in the car and I have another mini stroke. They're called
my
TIAs.
goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we head over to the hospital. I tell them I've had a stroke, and this time they found it on the scan. So then I had 12 mini strokes already, and the first major stroke, which is called a CVA, finally showed up. And so then I was hospitalized for a week. They gave me medication. And I think that that same day when I had that very major stroke, I got pregnant.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure that it was the same day down to like the timeline and all. And a month later, I found out I was pregnant because I had another stroke.
Wow.
I had another stroke, and when you get pregnant, you're more likely to have blood clots. And
Yes.
so then, like, I had a whole bunch of stuff going on, and I had stopped taking my medication, and I was like, I was a month pregnant, and we had to wait 3 more months. So I was 4 months pregnant, and then I had to have an abortion.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness.
Yeah, because it was just too much, and it was really, really bad.
Right.
And after that, I decided I was going to change my life because
Wow.
life was way too short to be working for someone else and doing something that I didn't have the passion for.
Right.
And plus, I had this thought that if I died today, I would have spent like a month with my son if you counted all the
Right.
times that like I spent with him,
Mhm.
you know, every single minute. It just wasn't worth it. So then I told my husband, I was like, hey, you know, I'm going to quit my job because if I died tomorrow, I don't want to want to regret not spending time with my son and living life the way I wanted to. And if I died, I have life insurance. So
You'll be fine.
yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Take care of.
And
All jokes aside.
yeah, I joke about it because it's hard. It's a hard topic to
Yeah.
talk about, you know. So jokes make it a little bit
Yes,
easier.
bearable. Yeah.
And so then I quit my job and I came and I stayed home with my son, and it was amazing, absolutely amazing. And we started eating a lot of cheese.
Yeah.
A lot of cheese. And I was like, I wonder if I could do something with this, you know,
Mhm.
because we were eating cheese left and right. And my son, man, he's a little fatty too. Like we're both like, we just loved it so much. And I was like, I wonder if I could do something with this. So then we ended up, I posted a couple of boxes. People bought them. I posted a couple more boxes. People bought them. And then I made the decision to start a business on it.
Oh my
And
goodness.
we started with $500.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't even have $500 at the time.
Yeah.
And I
Wow.
told my husband, I was like, hey, I have a dream. I have a vision, and I have this idea that I want to act on. Would you support me in it? And he did, and
Always.
And that was history.
that was
Yeah.
history. And the business has paid for itself ever since, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, but we started off with just the $500 that he gave me to start my business. I was like, I promise I'm going to pay you back. And he was like, you don't have to pay me back. It's our money. And so then he took $500 out of our savings, and I started with that, and the business has just paid for itself. And so that's
Definitely
how,
have to start
how we
somewhere.
started.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's how
I
we
mean,
started.
When I think when I was doing the so before doing getting into the financial area, I actually run a different company, and it was almost like DoorDash, but I did it for one specific state only, and I did it for a lot of people that were more of like in the home cares and things like that. And when I first started off, I started off with just $100, and I'm like, oh gosh, how am I gonna get this $100 to make 1,000, something like that?
But when you have the vision, all you see
Yeah.
it's not obstacles that you
Yeah.
see, you know, you
Opportunities.
see
Yeah.
opportunities.
Mhm.
You know, it's not, dang it, this is happening, I can't make things happen. It's, how am I going to go around this and make what I want to happen?
Right.
You know what I mean?
You're more
That's
like solution based.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like, how am I
that's
gonna make
that's
this
the
work no
mindset.
matter what?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
That's an
And so,
incredible story.
that's incredible too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, you have to start somewhere, and I think a
Yeah.
lot of people the downfall is that they automatically think of, oh, I only have $100. I can't do anything with this.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know? And so when you say, oh, how? That's the real thing, is that most people have to say, how can we have that? How do we do that? And I think that's really that really comes to a mindset of
yeah, so much.
yeah, a strong mentality, mindset things, and you kind of have to work on it. It takes a while, but once you get into that route, there's nothing that can stop you.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you want it enough, if you really really want it, you'll find a way to make it happen.
That's right.
That's what it is.
What about for
Believe
you, her? What about you? I have a question for you, her. I mean, while she was going through all of this stuff, in your head, were you like, I'm just gonna go through with it, no
Yeah.
matter what were you
Must have
thinking?
been scary.
So I was always like supportive of her. When she went through her strokes, I was very devastated because
Yeah.
it was uncertain what was going to happen.
Yes.
Exactly.
And the
of all-
love of your life.
Because of
Yeah.
all the
It's like you're
stories.
just watching them and
Yeah,
you can't help
and
them.
there's you're helpless. You can't
Right.
do anything,
Mhm.
and you hear all these stories about what happens after like major strokes, and your mind's just going crazy. And
Right.
and so I had to balance that with going to school and having to focus on my work and
Then
trying to
our
be a good
son,
father.
Yeah.
he was
So
only
it was
one.
it was stressful.
Oh my goodness.
Well, the real question I have is, were you eating a lot of cheese too?
I was not. You know what?
You couldn't eat.
I didn't
huh?
eat any of that stuff
Okay.
until like a year afterwards.
Until a year after.
Aw.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
with these strokes that we got, well, I got really lucky because I don't know if you know a lot about strokes, but you have a lot of residual when you have a major
Yeah,
stroke like that.
she has zero.
Zero
Residual.
residual.
Wow.
Sometimes I'll get nerve pain, but that's the extent of it. Like you know, for the most part, people who have strokes, major strokes like that, or like they'll have face droops.
They have like
I have
after effects of
Yeah.
that, I
Yeah,
guess.
I have like a little face droop. If you like really look while I'm not talking or smiling, then you'll see it. But like you'll have to focus
I
to
don't
see
notice
it, you know. But like
We
I
don't
got
see it.
You're not
really
supposed to notice
lucky.
it.
I got really lucky, and it was like just a little bit of brain damage.
Wow.
But
From the
prior to
strokes.
that, you didn't have a history of having strokes, did
Yeah,
you?
no.
Wow. So it
The-
just came out of the
It was just kind of
blues.
like out of
The,
nowhere.
the doctors think that I might have had like a major fall while I was when I was a child. But I will say we were I think it what contributed to the stroke I think is we were working out
Oh,
really
yes.
hard. So
Oh.
I just had my son and I play volleyball and I was trying to get back. So I was hitting the gym really hard. So we'd go to the gym 3 times a week for about an hour and then we would go play volleyball two times a week. So that's 5 days for about 2-3 hours. And then on the weekends, you know, we do weekend activities too.
Yeah.
And so I think that like it and we started taking a lot of pre-workout
I think it
and
was the
drinking
pre-workout.
coffee.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so just a lot of blood pumping.
Right.
And I think it just probably took it out of my body. Just like, you know, just putting too much stress on my body
Right.
had just, because the vessels that had broken in my brain from that fall that the doctors think I had from when I was a child, finally just everything just combined kind
Right.
of gave me the stroke.
Oh my goodness. How are you now, health wise?
Health-wise, I'm great.
That's
good.
Absolutely wonderful.
That's good.
I can't say for my memory, it's not that great, but that's not because of the stroke.
I think we all have that.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
I feel like with
Oh, yeah.
age too.
Children. I know.
I finally, you know, for the longest time I was in complete denial, even though like, you know, if you see me, I'm this strong, independent woman. I refuse to go to the doctor because
Right.
it's hard to like face things like that, you know what I mean? So I just one day I was like, you know what? I'm not going to take my medication anymore. I'm just not going to do it because I don't want to, because it's scary to like, because I've tried all my life not to be on medication. You know, that's why I exercise. That's why I don't eat a lot of salt. That's why I try and calm down on the sugar. And, you know, because like I see all these health problems with my parents, with my dad, actually, diabetes, gout, high blood pressure, and kidney stones. And I'm not trying to do all of that. And I've been working so hard to like
Right.
avoid these things. And then this happens. And all of a sudden, like I've got to take medication for the rest of my life. I'm not going to do it. So I stopped, and you know what? The body is amazing. It just cured itself. It just fixed itself. A friend of mine finally talked me into going to a neurologist and just double checking. And I went and they took a look and it's fine. The vessel had, the blood
itself.
vessel healed itself. It made new connections. And so now I'm super healthy. And so then I don't have to worry about the strokes anymore. So that's pretty amazing.
That's amazing. That's great
Yeah.
news.
You know, we were talking about today about the human body, and I was
Yeah.
telling her, I said, you know, what's so amazing about the human body is that it's able to heal itself, and it can do more than what you think
It's
it can
so
do.
resilient. Yeah.
So
It's-
much
that's
more.
crazy. And you know how you hear stories of most people said, oh, you know what, you had cancer or you have cancer, and then they go back and recheck. It's like,
Yeah,
oh, the
it's
cancer's
like
gone.
gone.
And so that's why today we were talking more about like doing things of the traditional way, like
Holistic
holistic
health.
health
Yeah.
and stuff like
Holistic
that.
approaches.
Yeah, and I was telling her, she's like, "Oh yeah, when your son gets sick or so, do you give him medication?" And I said, "No, I try to give him, you know, say that he has a sore throat or things like that. Just give him some hot water with honey and let it run through
Yeah.
it, let it go through and see what happens." But but I think for you to have that just kind of gone, that just shows you how crazy the body
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
can perform
yeah.
in those
And
areas.
I'm so thankful. I count my blessings every day.
Right. And
Yeah.
now you're doing something that you enjoy and you're passionate about too.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like completely changed my life, and
Right.
it's pushed me to be the person that I had to become.
Right.
You know, and so it's amazing.
So as
That's
a
amazing.
her as a supporter in the family, right?
Hmm.
Do you what do you think as she's running this? Do you feel like you guys are able to, in relationship wise, do you feel like you guys are able to do this more together, being more of a bigger family, being more of a connection in those kind of things?
I think that this has definitely brought us closer together
Yeah.
because we have to because
You
We're
might
a
have to come
great
back a little bit
team.
closer to the mic.
You guys
Yeah.
are.
because when you're because in business you will be you will fail at some point,
Right.
and there will be obstacles, and
Mhm.
it's just you'll have to just go through it together, and the more hardships you go together, the closer you become.
Right. I believe
Yeah,
that.
and I think that this has brought us a lot closer together.
Mm, that's
So,
good.
Dia, has he always been supportive or
I've
was
always
it
been
afterwards?
I think I well, I think that he's been more supportive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that he's been more supportive just in a sense where like with business wise, but he's always you see how great he is. He's always been this great guy.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
bet.
Yeah. So he's always been this great guy, but I think that like he's been even more supportive. We were just talking on the way over here. And I was like, oh man, because I was reading through the questions and I was like, one thing that I definitely want to mention is the support that I got from him
Right.
and from him and his sister. He has a sister named Kia. She's beautiful, by the way. And I always bring that up because she is beautiful. And it's the first thing you notice about her. And they really supported me in when I first started, because you know how when you first start, sometimes it's iffy.
Right.
It's iffy, and people think that you'll pick up this hobby and then you'll drop it and you'll move on to the next thing. And that's just kind of how everybody thinks,
Mhm.
And I can attest to that because I also kind of like look at people in the way that they say they're going to start something. Yeah, you might start it, or you might not, and then you might start it and you might drop off.
Right.
But like I definitely they've always supported me, and there has never been a doubtful word, and and I really appreciate that, especially on
Right.
days that like it's hard to keep going, or like months where you don't make money or anything, well, not months, but like weeks
Right.
Mhm.
where you don't make money. And especially when you're first starting out, and there's a lot of like self-doubt, or you have imposter syndrome. I've been having less and less and less of those,
Mhm.
but when I first started, I would feel like I was an imposter.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what I was doing, but I'm trying to do it, and like I'm happy about what I'm doing, but then like sometimes there's always so much affirmation you can give yourself until if someone says something negative, or if
Right.
something happens, then sometimes it kind of knocks you down. And I really appreciate the support that they gave me, and the continued support that they still give me, and so I really want to just say thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So in any of your family, do they have business before you guys started this, or were you guys
No, we're
kind of the
We're the first
stray
ones.
dogs?
Wow.
You know?
Yeah, we're the
First?
first ones.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, that's good. That's good. I think it has to take somebody down the
Yeah.
line to start something.
exactly.
Yeah.
And especially what you said, most people, they do talk about it and they are thinking about it, but it's that action that really matters the
Yeah.
most.
It's hard. It's hard to take that first step, and it's scary. It's scary. It's
because
scary to
it's-
take
it's-
that first
it's
step.
uncertain. Like just
Right.
starting
And so
a
much
business out of
uncertainty.
nothing.
Right.
There's so much uncertainty, so much money that goes into it, so much time, and if you have a stable job, why give it up?
Right.
And that's
Yeah.
why a lot of people don't actually manifest anything.
And the more that we do this, the more people we meet, people like you guys, and other business owners, and people who have made it, and like, just inspirational people like Crystal.
Right.
And, like the more you realize, God, I could not live a mediocre life. God, I could not go back. Gosh, I have to do this, and I have to see it through, and I have to follow my dreams. And there is no going back for me, absolutely not. I'd spend every single penny I had on this business, and I've done it before, and I would do it again. And there's no way that I'm giving up on my dreams
Right.
because there's no reason for me to, absolutely not. And so, like, it's kind of crazy, and I think people are scared to do it. And it's a big jump, and I totally get it. With kids and housing responsibilities, bills, mortgages, I totally get that, and it's hard. But the thing is, if you don't try, you may never have,
The opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
exactly. And
Right.
you don't know if it would have happened or if it was meant to be, but you've got to take that first step.
Right.
And it's a leap of faith.
And since we're on
Good
the
support
topic
system, too.
since we're on the topic of business, I realize that we know what you guys do, but I want to give you guys the opportunity to share about what you guys are actually doing, to the audience. So let's go back there.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing?
So we are a cheese and charcuterie catering business here in Sacramento. We also work in Yolo County. We travel, so we've gone as far as Chico, San Francisco, Modesto, Stockton. But we do cheese and charcuterie, and if charcuterie is just like the cured meats that they have. But recently, we just ventured out, and we've been doing it low key for a little while. But events and weddings, so we do planning, coordinating, and all the fun jazz of wedding life. But we've just officiated a page, and we're going to start probably not another LLC, but another business under the LLC that we already have in terms of wedding planning and events, just because it's such a passion to do that. And I love, so I don't know about the rest of the small business owners, but all the clients I've had amazing clients. And I think I'm just lucky. I
don't think we've had even one bad
yeah.
client.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
we have amazing clients, and I praise my clients all the time because, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to have met such great clients and not to have a bad experience, and to have people that love my work and trust me, and then all of the business that we've gotten is just from word of mouth. Word of mouth business,
That's the best type of business.
the best type of
referrals.
business. And so I really, really appreciate it. So if my clients are on here and they're viewing this, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you guys.
That's awesome. Because I know her used to have a career, and then she's mainly the one that runs the business. How do you guys divide up the responsibilities, whether it's personal life or things that contribute to your business? Was that something that you guys had to kind of fight over, or did you guys just naturally
think-
fall into these roles?
I think
We
they,
just
I think
naturally
they eventually,
fell into
we just
them.
kind of fell into those roles.
Yeah.
And I would just pick up where if, let's say, if I come home and I'm tired, but she has a project that she needs to work on, and I just
Come closer.
instinctively just take care of business at home.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'd say that I take care of 90% of the business, and her takes care of 10% of the business. But that's also because, he has his own career. He goes to a full-time job, and there are
Right.
days where I remember we had to go to San Francisco for a thing, and this was when he was working overnights. He was working overnights. So he went to work at 1. He came back. What time did you come back?
9 o'clock.
9:00, and then
my
we
goodness.
drove all the way to San Francisco, did our event, and then he drove all the way home, and then went straight back to work. That's dedication
That
for you.
is
That's
dedication.
support for you. You
Yeah.
know,
Very, very
like-
hard to do.
because not that I couldn't go by myself, but he says, "Well, I don't want you to drive by yourself."
Right.
And I love that. I honestly love us. It's so disgusting
Like I
how much I love us.
Like I said earlier, sometimes when you're passionate about something, or you love somebody, your father instincts or your lover's instincts just kind of kick in. And
Right.
I think it really works out because so your relationship, and this, and I say this, is that you need almost like a positive and negative to be together.
Yeah.
One, so for me and my wife, I'm more of the up and going. I have all the energy and stuff like that. I'm always trying to do something. Where my wife is that person, kind of brings me down to say, slow down. Look at the presents.
Be grounded again.
Yeah, she's like, oh, you're looking into the future, and you're looking into
Sounds like
building
me.
things like that, and
Flying too close to the sun, huh? I
close
gotta
to the sun.
pull you
Yeah.
back.
And so that's what I see for Dia, and then you have a great support like your husband.
I'm lucky.
Yeah.
I am. I'm lucky that her has so much energy, and like we just had that wedding, right? And I slept all of Sunday and all of Monday. I could not do it. And her did all the cooking, the cleaning. He took care of our son, and this is on top of the job that he had to work 5 days already, and then he had to do the wedding, and then he had to be the caretaker and still work all those days. And I really appreciate that. I do.
And no complaining.
No complaints.
No complaints. Yeah.
When you need
That's
to get,
good.
When things
That's-
need to get done, you just
Yeah.
you just make it happen.
Well, I would say this. Her, you have a. I mean, I can definitely tell you work out, and yeah. I'm giving
Wait, me too. Me too.
I can definitely tell that you work hard on everything of your business and everything.
Yeah.
But I can tell you work hard at the gym. I'll tell you that. But the thing is that I think you have to have that body and mind and
You do.
Yeah.
together, especially
Yeah.
being able to go out and what you're doing, day in, day out, doing working and business and stuff.
And I
like
really
that.
think
Yeah.
that like working out really sharpened my mind a lot.
Yeah.
And like it really fuels that connection,
Yeah.
mind body connection.
Right.
Because I started working out in January, and I can say that because when I was doing that night shift, I started slowly losing my mind. Like I would have brain
Yes,
fog
yes,
a lot
you
of
did.
the time.
Lack of sleep and everything
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Because I would just run on coffee all the time because I had to be up during the day as well,
Right.
right? And so I was slowly losing my mind, and I think that working out really, I keep telling them this, but I feel like I have my mind back now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just by meeting, even like the first time that we met, and I feel like we're meant to be because we always meet you guys like in different occasions.
I think so.
Right?
Yeah.
It's
Random-
either one of you guys stalking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Somebody's
know.
gotta be.
Somebody's
Yeah.
talking.
I know somebody's talking to somebody. Yeah, but no, even like the first time that we met, I can tell you guys have very good synergy together. So
Yeah, I think we
make a good
we
team.
make a pretty
yeah,
pretty,
you guys
pretty
do.
good team.
You guys
Yeah, I
definitely
think we
make a good
do.
team.
We make a really good team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were some of the challenges that you guys faced when you guys were starting the business, if there were any like major ones?
Confidence really was one of them, but I think that whole near-death experience really helped me
Yeah.
to push me into what I was doing. Sometimes money, and it would be more so like because I'm one of those people.
Invest,
That's
and
what my
I-
husband
new
says.
ideas.
I have no, and it's true, but you know what? The thing that I truly believe is all that investment. That's exactly what it is. It's an investment. I've invested every single dollar I've
Right.
made back into this business, right? And so like some days, like for example, like the example that I would give is we went to San Diego, right? And I had blew all my money in San Diego, right? Buying like whatever I was buying for myself. And I am not great at budgeting. And so I spent the budget money for a project that I had put together. And I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Right? And hers got money, but it's not money that we want to put back into the business.
Right.
And it's bill money. It's
Yeah.
like money that we need. It's our savings, and the business should pay for itself. And so then I was like, oh man, what am I going to do? I'm over here praying. And we get on the plane, we land, the photo shoot's the next day, and I have no money to get there. I have no money for the food and no money for the flowers. And so then I was like, man, what am I going to do? And someone texts me and says, hey, could I order like a $500 thing from you, and I'll pay you today? I was like, yes. That's exactly what I need, And so,
Wow.
so sometimes funding, but also we have been so lucky in our lives, in our business life, and in our personal lives. I keep telling her, I was like, if we don't take advantage of all these, what is it?
Like
Opportunities that we've
Or
been giving.
blessings.
Yeah.
Are these blessings. One day
Unexpected
we're gonna run out of blessings, and we just keep getting all these blessings. And so then like funding sometimes would be hard because I have all these ideas that I want to put together, and then and then like I don't have the funding for it, or I use every single dollar that I have and to fund like something like that, like a photo shoots. I'm really big on getting a good photographer, so I always hire photographers. Because I think that having high quality photos are necessary to make good sales, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Photos and videos.
Oh, photos and videos. Yeah,
Especially
definitely.
in the business that you guys are, everything's visual.
Yeah.
Everything's visual. Everything's visual. And so then like if you look through our profile, like our Instagram, like if it's not a video that we're taking like at home to just show people things, it's a professional photo from like a professional photographer, because I think that it's necessary, you know. Or like I want to invest into a new plate set. I know it sounds silly when you say it out loud, but
No, I understand. There's trends,
right?
okay?
Exactly. You have to follow the
trend.
trends. You have to
Right.
follow the trends. And so I will go out of my way and spend every single dollar. If I made $1,000 today, I'm spending this $1,000 on something that I thought about months ago and didn't have the
Right.
money for. And even before I spent that $1,000, I have this other idea that like,
That's
you
gonna
know,
cost another $1,000.
but you know what? That's exactly what it is. It's an investment.
Right.
I'm constantly investing, and sometimes the hard thing about that is that you spend every single dollar that you have on these investments, and they do come back. They, you know,
Yeah, eventually they come back.
but I always have more ideas, and so that's like I think it's just getting too excited when it's a passion. You know, and you're not necessarily, because before now I'm like, we've had this talk where he's like, okay, it's a business, not a hobby. It's a business, not a hobby. It's a business, not a hobby. And he's drilling me about it because you know what, it's a passion and it's a hobby and I love it, and it's not really a hobby, but it's still a passion, and it's so hard to like limit yourself when you could just spend an extra $100 to get something that you want, that would fulfill your vision. You know, and so like that's the hard thing. I think that the biggest struggle that I had is being too wanting everything that I want to make it perfect for my vision,
Regardless of the budget.
regardless of the budget. So I think that
Yeah.
no budget, and I think that for me personally is the hardest thing, and I'm still struggling with it. But her is now taking care of the finances because it's hard. It's hard when you have so much passion for what you're doing and wants, and like, you know, like when, for example, like when we have our brides and they can't like when their budget is, you know, what you want or the ideas that you have for them or what they want might be a little over budget, then you cut yourself just a little short because you also have a vision, and you're also like, yeah, but nobody's taking a hit, it's just me, it's okay,
Right.
you know. And so you talk yourself down, and you kind of like, you're like, it's okay, you don't really need that, it's the extra money. And I always I do it a lot where I'm like, it's extra money, Dia. You can afford not to take that and just take the loss for beautiful photos, or like to make a bigger bouquet, or like to have something prettier. And so the struggle is maybe being too passionate about certain things that I'm doing, and it cuts into the budget.
But I do tell her this too, that if you cut too much from what, like, let's say the quality of your work, then it kind of, your brand kind of suffers.
That's true.
Because your it's an image that you're setting. It's a brand that you're trying to build. And if the hard part about that is not being able to budget because you want specifics.
Right.
Yeah.
You have like this vision that you're trying to make come to life.
You're trying to
so-
manifest and
Right.
materialize.
So I think that's the hardest part for us, God, because our extra room is just filled with like totes
Totes
and
and totes.
totes.
Yeah.
We've got racks in the room with like totes
Uh-huh.
on both sides, and my son was like, "I thought this was my playroom." You know, I was like,
It's mommy's
"No,
storage room
I
now,
know I
too."
need an extra storage." And so I think that like the most difficult thing for us, as far as like, you know, starting out, was getting too excited and buying too many things and not following the budget. So budget
Right.
is definitely key, and maybe not cutting yourself short so much.
So I think that ever since I took over the finances, everything has gotten better.
That's awesome. That's
So somebody that's slowing down should
Exactly.
probably focus
Yeah.
more on the
Gotta
finance.
pull her back from the sun. Huh?
Yeah.
But going back to the, I'm trying to remember how to say the charcuterie or
Charcuterie.
charcuterie. I'm one of those people that was like, okay, well, I'm probably never gonna say it correctly, so you don't correct me. Well, yeah, going back to there, I mean, it's very interesting to me because I mean, most people when they look at the meat, the cheese, and the crackers and the grapes and things like that, most people say, oh, you know what, I can DIY, do it myself somewhere, or do it myself at a picnic or things like that. Now, what would you say it's the big difference between what you're doing and what they
I think
can
I should
do,
answer this
or
one.
what they're
You
doing?
Because,
can answer this one.
Everything that she says she wants, I'm always like, I can build that. I can make that. But you know what? Ever since we started this, I've come to appreciate vendors and caterers.
Yes.
Because there's so much work that goes into it, so much knowledge just to know what kind of cheese goes with what kind of wine.
The knowledge behind it.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, and it actually costs a lot of money to put it together yourself, and it might not look as appealing.
That's good. Right.
So I think that it's true. People say that they can DIY it, and yeah, you can DIY it, but I promise you it won't look the same way that I made it. And even if you had mocked the same picture, you probably didn't get the right cheese. And if you got the right brie, is it triple cream? Is it double cream? Is it
Right.
So it just, I think that people who want to DIY it, they can. It's just that there's so much knowledge that goes into knowing what you're doing, and a sense of style. I think that I have a pretty good style with how I do my boxes and my boards, and everybody's got their own style. You've just got to figure it out. But a lot of knowledge goes into finding the right cheese, where to buy it, the best products, cost-wise as well. And it actually, I don't know if you've ever done a cheese board, but it's expensive.
It's expensive.
Yeah,
I've never
if
done
you
it, so.
if you let's say if you live close to like a Rayleigh's, right? Basic Rayleigh's. You can go and buy all those cheeses at Rayleigh's, but they're expensive. You'll end up spending way more money trying to get all the ingredients that you'll use just partially for this one board or this one event that you're having,
And like I was saying, one thing that I really come to appreciate is when you do your own work, you're working so hard, spending all this time to put things together. At the end of it, like, who has energy to actually enjoy it?
Right.
it's true.
And
Have you
it's
ever
like-
cooked a whole meal?
No,
and then,
I am like
Yeah.
that. If I cook something, I don't want to eat it anymore because I'm exhausted.
I keep telling her, you know what? You cook because it tastes better when you cook.
because by the time you're done, you don't want to eat it anymore.
Right.
You know?
I think you're definitely right about that because I mean, I didn't even think about that. Like, honestly, I have not done one of those. I'm not even gonna say the word. I'm gonna butcher it, but one of the boards.
A cheese board.
Cheese board.
Yeah,
over
cheese
there.
board's good.
Yeah, cheese board and things like that. And I've seen the technical part about putting them together, designing it, and in those areas. I mean, if you leave it to a bunch of guys, we're just gonna smack,
Yeah.
throw everything there.
Bam, bam.
And
It's
it's
a
still
sandwich.
and it's still in the plastic. We're just gonna throw it there. But but when I saw one of yours presentation, I'm like, wow, it's a little different and it's a little
Beautiful.
unique.
Yeah.
They are, and it's hard to eat, right? Because
you
yet
don't wanna
you don't
ruin
want
it.
to ruin it. It's
Yes.
like a work of art, and
It is.
we put a lot of energy into making sure that they look beautiful. We even buy flowers just to put them into the boxes because they look better. And everything that looks better tastes better. Sometimes even if it's not,
And I didn't know about how you can do. So I'm a big wine and steak person, and I've always done wine and steak. But when I started learning about what you do about with the wine and the cheese, and I never knew about that.
It's such an experience. So when I'm working, right, I say this because like when I go to like the to Clarksburg Wine Company, because sometimes I'll want wine or something, or like they'll want cheese, or like we've got like an event coming up, and it's an excuse to go and work together and drink and eat cheese, right? It's such an experience. It's absolutely amazing. What you do is like when you go wine tasting and you have flights and you eat the cheese with the wine, you start to realize that there are flavors in the cheese or in the wine that you couldn't taste before, right? Something that it takes practice to realize what wine goes with what cheese. You can give me names and I wouldn't know, but if I tasted it, I promise you, I could tell you. You know what I mean? And so it just takes practice with the tasting to realize what goes well with what. And with cheese and wine pairing, it's I say this: if you drink the wine, or if you eat the cheese and then you drink the wine, and you can't taste the cheese anymore, eat the cheese, and if you can't taste the wine anymore, it's not a good fit. It's not a good fit. A good fit for a pairing is something that complements each other. So when you eat the cheese and you drink the wine, you can really taste the wine, but then you can still taste the cheese. Or if you're drinking the wine, you eat the cheese, you can still taste the wine. So those are like, that's how you should pair them, because they bring the best flavors out of each other. And so it just takes practice to kind of find out what cheese goes with what wines. And so I love it, like, so when we go out and we're wine tasting at like Clarksburg Wine Company or so, or I'm just sitting there drinking and eating cheese. It's a whole new experience, because as you keep going, right, because we do light to dark, as you keep going, the flavors become so intense. They're so intense by the end of it. It's I wouldn't say life-changing, but it's a whole new experience.
Right.
Yeah, if you do it the right way, it's probably like, steak and wine. I don't know how, I've never gone to like a steak and wine tasting, but it's
I mean, honestly, it's really just to clean the palate and really get the taste of the steak, or really get a good taste of wine. It's almost the same as what you're saying. Like, you get
right. They complement each other so well.
And now, after you said, it's almost like a general rule of if this one, you don't taste the steak, or if you don't taste the wine, then
If
that's
you
almost
can't
like a
enjoy
general.
them together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now you saying it, I understand now. It's like, okay, well, I've had great wine, but how come the steak tastes a little
Yeah,
off?
it becomes
Or something like
mediocre
that.
or something. That
Yes.
means that wine is too strong for the meat that you're eating, and you need to pair it with something else. And the same thing for cheese and wine. If you're pairing it and you can't enjoy both of them at the same time, they don't pair well together. Yeah, so it just takes practice.
What are each of your favorite cheese and wine together? Do you guys have different?
So I actually I eat everything. So there's our favorite cheese, I would say, is Capigny. Capigny is a French cheese. It's from France. It's got this beautiful orange yellow rind on the outside, and it's been washed with like salt water. And then when you cut into it, it's like super gooey, and it oozes out from the inside. It's got like a yellow tint to it. It's sweet, creamy, salty. So amazing. It's my favorite cheese of all time. And her just started, like, he eats it now because like we've been eating cheese for a while, and I'm like, I'm working. He's like, okay, I'll be working too.
Before, I only eat cheese that I can't taste.
Isn't that funny? I can't believe.
Provolone cheese.
Yeah, I'm like that
you don't
too.
taste
Even
anything
now,
in
yeah.
provolone,
My
yeah.
husband's really big with cheese. I'm like, mozzarella, provolone.
I want to say I eat cheese, but I don't want to taste it.
It's
But-
funny.
but
Yeah,
it's-
before,
yeah,
that's
before
exactly
that's
what
how
he
it
would say.
was.
He would say, oh, well, I want to eat cheese that I can't taste. I'm like, what's the point
now,
of having the
now I've
cheese?
come
Right.
to appreciate all of the flavors that and ingredients that comes into.
I think for like the for me, it's more like the sharp cheddar. I like the sharper. I like that. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's that bitterness of it or that more of. But I like that kind of cheese.
A lot of people have like texture problems when it comes to cheese. They don't like the texture of certain cheeses, and so then they'll go with like something that's more aged. I love all cheeses, so I guess I love all cheeses, but one that I could kind of stay away from is probably like rubbier, like cheeses that are kind of like, I guess the texture thing kind of like reminds me of rubber. And so like I love Gouda, but I've got to have like a smoked Gouda where the smoke of the Gouda kind of helps me with the
Get rid of
texture of that.
Yeah.
The
rubbery texture.
feel, the feel, because the smell is really good and it tastes better. I don't mind as much with the texture of that rubberiness, or like an aged Gouda. Oh my goodness, I love aged Gouda. Right now, we're kind of well, I don't know if you are, but I'm kind of obsessed with goat cheese.
Oh,
Yeah, and
yes.
people and goat cheese. Sometimes people are like, "Oh, I don't like goat cheese. It's too goaty."
too
Yeah,
goaty.
it's too
It's
goaty.
definitely
It's
different.
earthy.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's earthy. It's a more earthy taste, but if you eat it the right way, I promise you that you'll like any cheese. If you learn how to pair it right, whether it's with wine or fruits or meats, you'll end up loving it. For me at first with goat cheese, I also didn't like goat cheese. It was too goaty for me, right? But it's an earthier cheese, and once you learn to enjoy it and taste it and appreciate it for what it is, you'll realize that it has so much to offer. I'm completely, utterly obsessed with. I actually just did a video this morning on it, 3 separate videos on a mango habanero goat cheese.
Ooh,
Absolutely
that sounds
delicious.
interesting.
Yeah. And it's got like a little kick to it. It's sweet, it's spicy, it's creamy, and you don't get that goatiness when you eat this cheese. You can't smell it.
I think
It's-
next time if we have another podcast, sorry, too,
Yeah.
you're gonna definitely have to bring some of those cheese.
Oh
up.
yeah, no,
definitely.
definitely. We can talk cheese.
should
Yeah,
wrap
we're
some
gonna
For
talk cheese.
yeah, we can talk
Next
cheese
episode.
for
Yeah.
hours.
You guys can go ahead and eat the cheese. I'll drink the wine.
No, you should have it together. It's absolutely amazing. But I've been obsessed with it, and I've been eating it for days. So right now, if you came into my house right now and you looked at the fridge, we always have Capigny on hand. Capigny on hand, and we've got like 3 logs of the mango habanero goat cheese at the house. And then my other favorite one, which is the Meredith Dairy sheep's and goat's cheese that's been drenched in herbs and garlic olive oil. Absolutely amazing goat cheese. That's my that's the cheese that I use to change people's minds about
Wow.
goat cheese. It's like the holy grail cheese. Yeah. And so every single time we go out, if I'm running low, I've got like 2-3 of those, and they're in the fridge. Those are the cheeses that we'll always have on hand.
So if you ever are craving cheese, you know which house to go to.
Yeah.
Yep.
I definitely
Always
do.
in the fridge.
Don't mind me.
We don't. You're welcome to come. You're welcome to come.
Well, interesting because a lot when you guys talk about cheese and you talk about Riley's and going over there to go buy the cost of cheese. Now, if I was gonna buy those kind of cheese that you're talking about, are those more like a high end cheese, or like you understand, like
Is
a
it easy to
Mercedes or
find?
Toyota?
Yeah.
So
comparing those sort,
so
you
we
know?
actually work very hard in finding our cheese.
Okay.
So we don't just go to one store. So I'll go to Costco, and people don't go to Costco thinking that they don't have good cheeses. They have great cheeses. They have a great supply of cheeses. So we'll go to like Costco, Trader Joe's, head down to Elk Grove for Nugget. There's Whole Foods too. And then what's the other place that we go to? Sprouts. Yeah, so and then we go to Restaurant Depot. It's for like restaurant owners or like business owners. They've got some really high quality gorgonzola.
Brie.
Yeah, some blue cheese, brie, triple cream brie that they have there. And so they've got some really good stuff. I wish that they had a ton of stuff, but it's limited.
Right.
So when we go on a cheese run, we're going to like 5-6 different stores.
Wow.
Yeah, 5 different stores to just get the best cheese. Like Nugget offers, if you didn't know, Nugget offers baskets of cheese for samples. So they're like $1.50 for like a little thing of cheese, and they're filled into like there's this basket, and it's filled with like little cheese samples that you can buy, and you can take it home and try those cheeses to see if you like them, and then you can come back, and those are like the little extra pieces of cheese that don't look pretty, that they don't put out, and you can buy it for like $1.50, $2 or something, and then take it home, try it, see if you like it, and come back and purchase the cheese that they have there. But they have a good selection of cheese there. Like our favorite cheese, Capigny, that's where we get it from. it's hard to find now because I think the gal that's in charge of the cheese there might have quit. I haven't seen her in a while, and I haven't seen that cheese get ordered in. And so it's been unfortunate, but then I've stopped going to the one in Elk Grove because they don't have it. They have it at the one, is it Florin?
Yeah, it's on.
So that's the one that I go to now
Florin
because
I-5,
they have that special cheese. But like, there's a couple of different stores that you can go to. Not everything is the same quality. Like, I don't know if you guys have had blueberry goat cheese. we
Nope.
talk about
not.
cheese.
No.
So, oh my goodness, you are missing out on life. You are.
I think was that the one that you brought to the last event that we were at?
I think
It was
so.
kinda
It's got
sweet?
like it's sweet. It's white on the inside. It's got all those blueberries on the outside.
Oh, I tried that one. It was really good.
So, not all cheeses are made like with the same quality. So, if you buy a blueberry goat cheese from Rayleigh's, or like Costco, right? Versus if you buy a blueberry goat cheese from Trader Joe's. And this is just from experience from me going to different stores and trying cheeses and trying to like pair them and find the best cheeses. I will tell you that the one at Trader Joe's, they have the best blueberry goat cheese because it's always they are very generous with the blueberries that they give to those goat cheese logs. It's very affordable. It's only like $4.50 for a big stick, and it's moist, not like moist like nasty moist, but like it's soft and it's creamy and it's sweet and it's delicious, and it doesn't smell as earthy as the other cheeses. And so if you're trying to look for like a good blueberry goat cheese, Trader Joe's is the best place to go for that cheese. But there's other places with other cheeses like the Nugget. Nugget has mimolette. Mimolette is a French cheese. It's a hard aged Gouda that they import from France, and so sometimes they don't have it. It looks like a big pumpkin, and the inside is completely orange. And it's the best Gouda I've ever had.
Wow.
Yeah. And so you just have to like kind of shop around and then find out. And we go out, and when I do like work runs, right? When I do work runs, I'll go out and I'll buy cheeses from like different stores and try them out at home and try and pair them before. So then like the boxes that we put together are cheeses that we've had that are really good, or cheeses that we paired with stuff that we put into the box that pair well together. So when we make our boxes, like a lot of thought goes into our
Right.
boxes. Yeah.
Thank you for all the little nuggets.
No.
Yeah. Now, if we want to start a business,
No, do it. So I always say that, like, and I say this to everybody that I meet that like are looking for inspiration, do it. If you want to do something, if you want to do exactly the same thing that I'm doing, I promise you there are so many clients out there that even if everybody in Sacramento did the exact same thing, there are so many people, so many clients out there that everybody has enough clients to fulfill,
Right.
those needs. And so if for some reason everybody in Sacramento wanted to do cheese and charcuterie, I promise you'll be able to find those customers outside of Sacramento.
I think
You
one of
know.
the hard thing that people are going to fall into is if they want to do the work.
Yeah, it's a
Exactly.
lot
That's-
of work.
Because it
Yeah.
has to
It's a lot
be a
of work.
passion.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it has to be. And when you say hobby and work, or business, hobby and business, I think a lot of the things, and just in that, I mean, a lot of people, what they do is, as you did, you started as a hobby, and I think it's now transitioned to a solid business where you're working with
Yeah.
different clients, different customers, and things like that. But let me ask you, but if say that the charcuterie, right?
Yeah, charcuterie.
Charcuterie business did not work when you were starting. What do you think you would have been doing
What would I have done, or what would I do if it didn't work?
if it did not work?
There's no way.
There's no way?
There's absolutely no way that it wouldn't work. And I this is like a true core belief. Like, there's absolutely no way that it wouldn't work. And if for some reason it became hard and it became difficult and it became something that I didn't bring in income, I would find a way to make it work.
Wow.
I would. There's
That's
no
passion.
way that like
Yeah.
there's no way that this is not going to work. And it's just one of those things. And I get goosebumps when I talk about it because there's no way that I'm going to let that happen. You know
I
what
can
I
see
mean?
your goosebumps. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way that I'm ever going to let that happen because it is a passion. It's my business. There are two things that I'm never going to give up in life. One is my son, and two is my business.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's manifestation. We were having a good debate about
No.
manifestation.
Manifestation is
It's-
so real.
It's real.
So real.
See, please
real.
tell him how real it is.
It's very,
That's-
very real.
That's a
we'll
different
we'll have a
conversation.
different conversation.
And we can talk about it because it's I have so much to talk about
Yeah.
with manifestation and like things that are meant to be, and how we go about. I think that it just takes time and it takes certain events in our lives for us to realize that it's true.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And the story that you said, how when you needed that money and you landed in $500, I mean, that's manifestation. When you
It is.
really want something, the universe, God, whatever
Make
you want to
it-
call it, yeah,
yeah.
they
Yeah.
make a way
They make it
where
happen.
it just happens.
It always happens.
Right, it always happens.
It always happens for us, and I want us to be better about taking advantage of those little blessings
Yeah.
that we're given, because we think about it and we're like, God, we are so lucky. We are so lucky with everything that we've been given. We've been given each other. We've been given a second chance
Yeah.
with my life. We've
Absolutely.
been given time and time again with schooling, with work, with everything falling into place. And like sometimes you don't see it, but when you look back, you realize, God, if this didn't happen, this would have
Right.
never happened. And I say this all the time. Two things that I would never change is, one, those strokes. I'd take those strokes over and over and over again in order for me to be where I am now.
Right.
And I'd make all these same mistakes and have all the same heartbreaks in order for me to have my son. You know what I mean? I would do everything exactly the same way, even though I knew that it would be devastating in the moment. And I think that like we should be better about these blessings that we've been given.
That's beautiful. I love that. Going back to the business, what are some of the strategies that you guys are using now to scale or grow your business? Is it more like networking, social media?
So, both, but I think that one thing that has really, really been big for us is giving 110%. Like from with our business, all of our clients have been from word of mouth. So we give a lot when we do our business, or like when we're doing something for a client. We give I give 110% every single time, and that's why we give so much. We also do networking events, and we've gotten clients from those events. We've also, word of mouth is basically the biggest way for us to get our clientele, but we've recently started networking. I wanted to talk a little bit about the nonprofit that I
Yes.
just started working
Yes.
for. So I'm on the board for the Natomas Chamber of Commerce. And we're a nonprofit that helps small businesses, and we advocate for youth and education. And it's such an amazing organization. And the way that I fell into this organization was through a client. There was a lady on Facebook. She does cheese and charcuterie, and she couldn't fill in orders. So then she sent a client to me, and that client was Teresa. And Teresa reached out to me, and she's been my client since. And they're sister-in-laws.
Oh,
They're sister-in-laws. And so then I met Teresa, and Teresa, she fell in love with me because I definitely fell in love with her. And so then she invites me out to the events that they were having. And then she introduced me to Alicia Lozano, who is the president of the Natomas Chamber of Commerce. And weeks later, she just randomly called me and connected me with the coffee shop that we are now partnered with, that we have our items at. And she made those connections for us. And so I'm really thankful. And so then I was kind of just thrown into this group, this organization that we're trying to connect and network with small businesses and support them and help them find their way. And so then I went to a lot of their networking events, and that's how I've gotten some of my clients. And then just just being there, I loved it so much. And someone had actually, I wasn't even a member. Someone had paid for my membership because they believed in me so much.
Wow.
Yeah, someone paid for my membership, and then someone nominated me to be on the board, and I was like, you know what? Why not, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you. I was like, why not? But then when I actually went into the organization and we had that board meeting and we talked, I realized that these people were all like-minded people. They were all the same type of people like you and I and, us. And it was amazing. And they have so much passion, and everyone's super busy, and everybody's trying to get all of their business stuff done, and they've got their home life, and then they're trying to work for the community and small business owners and bring everybody together. And so that's why I love working for free now. So so I just joining this organization, I've networked with like a lot of people, and I'm hoping that I can make a difference in the Hmong community with our small business owners, because there's plenty of people trying to start their own business, plenty of people who are who already have their business, who don't know where to get these resources. And I would love to be a part of that and be able to help these people and bring them into the chamber and bring them into our events and kind of help them along the way, just like the chamber has helped me. So apart from like our word of mouth clients and the chamber, we're with the Knot and Wedding Wire as well. But that's how we've been marketing, and it's been going really well. Word of mouth has been the best for us, and I really appreciate that, because that just kind of attests to like our clients and their appreciation of us, and we appreciate that too.
Right. What was one of your biggest setbacks? Because I know that any type of business, no matter how big or small.
You will experience.
Yeah. And I know we talked about this earlier off camera. How did you guys overcome it?
Well, I honestly wanted to talk about a different setback.
Yeah.
So early on in our business, when I first started, I took on a partner, right? I was doing all of this work, and it was early on. I hadn't done it like full time or anything. I wasn't doing this full time. I was just kind of like dabbling, and it was going really well. And someone reached out to me, and she was like, hey, I saw that you've been doing this, and it looks like you've been doing really good. I'd love to partner with you, and kind of like maybe we could work together and share resources. And so we ended up partnering up. So anytime I had an event, then I didn't have a lot of events at the time, because I didn't do a lot of events. I did more boxes. And she was like, yeah, I've got like tons of clients, and I'd be able to share them with you if we could work together, if you can give me a discount. That's fine. But I don't want to name names or anything like that, but things just didn't work out, and it taught me a lot of valuable lessons in choosing who you trust with your ideas and where you want to go with where you're headed. And sometimes, honestly, like I cried. It was so terrible. I cried for a whole day because I was so heartbroken about this breakup with this partner, and I was so gaslighted, and there were so many emotions going on, and I felt like I was going to become absolutely nothing because she was established and I wasn't. And so then, like, and I think that one of the things, I'm so glad that it happened. I'm so glad that it happened. It was the biggest setback for me, right, at the time. But when it did happen, through the encouragement and support of my husband and his sister, it pushed me so much further than what I had imagined. And it's crazy, because I had this limited belief in what I was going to be doing with my life, and I had limited myself. Even though I had all these ideas, all these investments that I wanted to start up, it was limited belief. Yes, I believed in myself. Yes, I knew I was going to do something great, but it was still limited. And I had this idea, and I shared it, and she used it, and it was, and so then, like, when it was all said and done and the clouds were cleared, I came on the other side way stronger than anything. And I learned that I am talented. I am strong. I'm a great person. and I have so much more to give, and I can't limit myself to just being the cheese and charcuterie girl, and I can't just limit myself to just what she was saying that I could do, and so then like I started on this adventure of trying to like be better about my business, and so that big setback was a blessing in disguise.
Yes.
It was a blessing in disguise. Could you imagine if years from now I was making like hundreds and thousands of dollars or something, and I took up a business partner like that,
Right.
I would be completely screwed. But now
Right.
I've come to realize I actually don't need anybody. I don't need anybody. I'm doing well on my own. And when I say on my own, I mean like as the business itself,
Right.
We don't need a partner, and it's just one of those lessons that I'm so glad and thankful
That happened early
that
on.
happens
It's a small
early
loss.
on. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a small loss. At the time, I felt like it was the whole world.
Right.
It was the biggest setback for me, and I cried. I cried in front of my in-laws and my brother-in-laws, and it was like, now that you think about it, oh my goodness, it's embarrassing, because I wept like a baby.
Right.
I did, but then I realized through it all that like these limited beliefs that I had while I was with this
Yeah.
person, because some people you're just not meant to be with those people.
Right.
And it definitely pushed me to be better at everything that I've done, and it's broke me out of my shell.
Right.
So I'm really thankful for that big setback.
Yeah, definitely. I think as bringing in a business partner and going back to that part, when a lot of especially when you're running like when you're starting off as a business owner and things like that, sometimes in some business you can do it by yourself starting off. But you are right, though, there are a lot of businesses out there that they would come up to me and says, you know what, I brought in this business partner with me, but it just does not work out. I want to buy my share out. I can't get out because I'm stuck in these kind of stipulations. I can't trust this person, or it's like, oh, this person is doing things behind everybody's back, and we're trying to get things done. And so we definitely understand, because we've been in the business or the entrepreneur side industry, and I think in any business they have. I mean, you're eventually going to fall into that category. But I think you are definitely right, though. If you don't fall into there early in life, you won't learn down in life.
Yes.
And you're kind of more specific on who you kind of work with, bring in with. I mean, look, you bring in your best friend.
Yes.
And
even that was iffy.
Even that was iffy. Yeah. But I mean, that's why when we work with new business owners or things like that, they come and ask for advice or financial planning and things like that, we always tell them, you have to really secure yourself first, and then when you feel like you are able to branch out and there's going to be higher risk bringing in somebody else, is because you cannot control what they do. But all you can do is control how you want to run the business, how you want this. The only way to really kind of maneuver the way you would like is if, of course, you have yourself and you don't have to negotiate or talk to really somebody
You don't need
else.
them.
Right.
Yes.
You don't need them.
And so,
It's
but
a luxury.
Eventually, down in as you, of course, you grow, you're gonna have to build a team, and and it's just gonna happen. But that's growth, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, but I'm glad that like most people, I always tell people this. I said, whoever to you, when you are successful, when you get to where you want to get, or when you are, where you said, oh, I finally did it, go back and say thank you. And that's why
Thank you
most
for the harsh life.
yeah,
lessons.
that's why most people always said, oh, sometimes you need those kind of people in your life.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know?
Yeah.
definitely.
You do. Some people are there to teach you a lesson.
Yes.
And it was a very good lesson for me. And I would do it again, because I don't think I would have came out on the other side as strong as I did.
Yeah.
If it hadn't happened,
And
so
that
I'm really
made
glad.
you, in a way, it made you recognize your own limiting beliefs, right? And
Yes.
how to overcome it too. So you needed her to bring that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely a
so much
blessing in
so.
disguise.
And you need to bring her into replacing that.
How has working together in business impacted your relationship?
I think that we have a great relationship. And so, again, I feel like people are probably going to be sick of us, but I think me, her, and our son, we're exactly the same. And we're needy, we're clingy, we're always together all the time, and I don't know if that's why we feel the need to be together all the time, or if like we want to be together all the time and that's why we're all together all the time.
I think that's
'Cause,
just
like,
how we've always
like
been.
we've always been
Yeah.
that way, and I think so. We've been dating. We dated when we were like 15. We've been together
Wow. For
like
10
for
years.
more than half of our
Wow.
life.
Oh my
Yeah.
We've been together
goodness.
for a whole decade before we got married.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
can say that we're pretty much one person.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
An extension of each other.
Exactly.
We,
Yeah.
yeah, her is definitely an extension of me, and I try to be an extension of him.
I love it. No, I always say, but I believe in true love. I believe in fairy tales. Like I'm a hopeless romantic.
Me too. I'm a
So,
hopeless romantic.
I know. So no, I
Yeah.
love all
Yeah.
this. It's I can't get enough of it.
It's so funny, and I think that our son is taking over, taking after her. You're like, Mom, hold my hand to sleep. You know, and like they act exactly the same. So it's like a little. So I've got two mini, like one her, like her, and then I've got like a mini her just running around all the time. They act exactly the same. So
You know, he's gonna be he's gonna, if he's anything like your husband, and if he's gonna be like that, it's gonna break a lot of women's heart. You gotta be ready for
he's
that.
gonna be a charmer. He's
Yeah.
very charming already. Yeah, and it's because you're such a charmer. I wouldn't say necessarily like he's a romantic because he doesn't buy me flowers or
I'm a
anything.
romantic.
But he's a charmer. He's very like sweet. It's
Yeah.
like and my son is exactly the same. Mom, you're so beautiful, and just like always just like making me melt
Pulling
all the
the
time.
heartstrings.
I
Yeah,
know,
pulling
pulling
the
my
heartstrings.
heartstrings, and
Oh,
I
my
think that it's
goodness.
because he gets it from his
Yeah.
dad.
Of course. How do you guys divide up the responsibilities, whether it's home life or business?
So we don't. Yeah, we don't. There's not a role. Just because her works every day doesn't mean he doesn't come home and cook.
Right.
And just because I'm home every day doesn't mean that I'll cook every day. So it's pretty much we give and take. It's kind of a give and take relationship. There's not. We don't argue.
I think that we
it's-
understand like exactly what we need to do, and so
Right.
if one person can't do it, then the other person
Yeah.
just naturally just picks
Knows
up.
how to compensate.
Yeah,
Like,
so, like-
if she's tired, and she's hungry, or our son is hungry, then I just naturally just go and cook.
Right.
Yeah, it's not like, and we do communicate, but it's so much more like if I'm not feeling good, like yesterday my arm just hurt too much. I've got some nerve pain because I've been working on my laptop for too long, because I'm trying to do this thing where like I push out a ton of like social media all at once, and then next week I'm not going to do any of it
Yeah.
because I've got to clean the dishes and stuff like that from the wedding. So I try to push it all out, and my arm just hurt too much, and I don't have to say anything. I just say, my arm hurts, and I'm like, okay, I'll just cook. I'll cook, and so it's just like we just kind of fall in. I think we've just been together for so long that it's just
Right.
kind of a cue.
Like
we
truly an extension of each other.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like you just like it's like nonverbal communication.
Yeah.
You just kind of pick it up and you can kind of sense it and
Like you just look at me, I know what to do.
yeah.
It's nice. It's really nice. Yeah, it's I see this thing on Instagram all the time where it's like you might not know it, right? It's like a little thing that they wrote down. You might not know it, but you're living one of your dreams right now. And this is definitely one. I mean, now that I'm like super hyper vigilant about like my work and stuff, that's all I think about now. But this was definitely like one of the things that I wanted out of life, to have like a partner that I like this, and to
Right.
love someone and have them love me, and like be completely one with each other. And now that like I'm super focused on work and stuff like that, it's sometimes you need that little reminder that you might not be thinking about it, but this is what you asked for, and this is what you've been given, and you should be grateful. And so I am grateful.
Absolutely.
So we're coming close to on time, and so but before we close, we do want to ask. We always ask our guests when we're closing up. Can you leave our listeners with some final words of wisdom or encouragement based on your experience and what you've learned on this incredible journey that you and your husband are doing?
Okay. So I'm going to tell you guys a story.
Yes.
And this is my favorite story, and I tell it to a lot of people. And it just kind of aligns with my life and my beliefs. It's about the Chinese farmer and the horse. Have you guys heard it?
I don't think so.
Nope, I have
No.
not.
Share
Okay.
it.
So the story goes, there's a Chinese farmer, and he has a horse. One day his horse runs away, and his neighbor comes over and he says, "Oh my God, your horse ran away. You're so unlucky." And the farmer goes, "Yeah, maybe." And then the next day the horse comes back, but he brings a mate with him. So there's two horses. And the neighbor comes over and the neighbor says, "Oh my God, your horse brought another horse back. You're so lucky." And the farmer goes, "Yeah, maybe." The next day, his son takes the horse that they brought back out to the field, and the horse kicks him and breaks his leg. And the neighbor comes and the neighbor says, "Oh my God, you're so unlucky. That horse broke your son's leg." Right? And so then he was like, "You're so unlucky." And the farmer goes, "Yeah, maybe." And then the next day, war breaks out, and the government comes and collects all the able men to go to war. And the neighbor comes over and he says, "Oh my God, your son didn't have to go to war because his leg is broken. You're so lucky." And the farmer goes, "Yeah, maybe." And the life lesson that I've learned from that is that everything happens for a reason, regardless of if we know it or not. And, you know, things that are meant for you will happen regardless of how you try to avoid it. And if things aren't meant for you, no matter how hard you try, it's never going to happen for you. I'm not saying that you're not in control of your life or your fate. You know, I'm just saying that, like, there are certain things that happen because they have to happen. They happen because it needed to happen, you know, and I wouldn't change those strokes that I had. I would take those strokes over and over and over again just to be the person that I am today. And I joke, but I say, if you get hit by a bus, I'm sorry, but it might have needed to happen.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
Right.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that. Thank you so much for sharing that
Yeah.
story.
But I think we're out of time. Thank you very much for being a part of our journey on this chapter that we're taking in. But we really appreciate both of you, and I think next time we should definitely bring some cheese.
we will.
Definitely
Well,
wanting
thank
to.
you for
Definitely
having
will.
us.
Thank
We
you for
really
having us.
appreciate it.
Both.
Yeah.
No,
Thank you.
Your story is so inspiring, and I'm so glad that we had this chance to sit and talk, because we always meet each other, but
Yeah.
you know, we never had this opportunity. So it's just so good to know you guys more on a deeper level, and I wish you both the best of luck. Not that you guys need any luck.
Thank you. And
Thank you.
we will be seeing each other even more
Yes,
so,
yes,
because
we will
I
be.
see friendship in this future.
Oh,
So.
Yes.
definitely.